Morning, this is Kim Hammer with your devotion taken from the book of Judges, chapter 18. Sometimes you look at stories in the Bible and you just kind of scratch your head and wonder what in the world was going on and why would God even allow that to be written into His Word, and what value and what lesson is there in it for us today that we read what happened thousands of years ago and think there's any relevancy to what we're dealing with today. In the book of Judges, chapter 18, we find it starts off with the very first verse reminding us again that Israel had no king. What happens when you don't have leadership is that everybody does that which is right in their own eye. You can even have a body in an office and yet not have any leadership, and people do that which is right in their own eyes. That's where we are today as a nation ourselves. We may have somebody in the office, but if everybody's doing that which is right in their own eyes, we don't have the leadership that we need in order to take us as a country in the direction that God wants us to go in. In this case, they had nobody at all, and so everybody was doing that which was right in their own eyes. Now, there was a tribe called Dan that was part of the 12 tribes of Israel, and they had yet to find their place where they could call home. And as a result of it, they sent 5 spies out to look in a particular area. And they came upon an area that is called Laish. And there they found everything that they were looking for, and everything that God had promised them, that they would find a land flowing with milk and honey and many blessings. And so they determined that this was the land that they wanted, and they were going to go in and take it. Because one thing they found was that the people that lived there were unsuspecting and that they were peaceful people. Well, unsuspecting means that they thought that they were in a place of safety where nobody would ever come and harm them, and the fact that they were peaceful meant that they didn't have a large weaponry, they didn't have a large army to defend them, and they were living in peace. Well, the tribe of Dan wanted a homeland, and so they go in and they conquer them, and on the way to conquer them, they come across this guy named Micah. Now, Micah was the guy who had stolen 1,100 pieces of silver from his mom, and when he got remorse, he returned it to her, and she took $200, gave it to the silversmith, and they made an image, and they put it in the temple in their house, and they had all their other idols along with that one made. So when the tribe of Dan comes along, and they come upon the house of Michael, and they find the Levite tribe that he had hired, they took the Levite and took all of his stuff, including all the idols, with them on their journey to conquer this land called Laish. Now, the only reason I say that is the old cliche, what goes around comes around. Micah had stolen the Levite, had stolen the money, had built the altar, had put all those false gods in it, and now he lost it all because somebody stronger and bigger came along and took it away from him. What goes around comes around, remember that. So they go into this land of Laish, and they conquer these people, and they take the city. And as a result of it, they now have a place to call home. When you look at the region of Israel, you got to remember that God promised that He would give them a land, that He would give them a home. And all those people that were on that place called Israel, that Israel had to fight to take the land away from, was under the blessing of God, because God had promised that to His chosen people. But that doesn't mean that the people that had the land taken it away from them have ever forgotten it. And when you look at the Middle East and you look at the disturbances that are going on in the Middle East, you can understand better now why. Because you have thousands of years of history and bad blood between those nations whose land was taken away and Israel, who is dominating the land that was taken away, and those people want it back. The problem is God gave it to them, and you try to go up against God, you're going to lose every time, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to lose when they try to take that land of Israel away from them.